Coming up next at 10, a deadly shootout between police and a wanted man. It led to the temporary shutdown of a major road. We've got video.
Mayor Lloyd Snook is running for council again. What he says he's accomplished and what he's still hoping to get done.
And there's something new and fun to do in your free time. We'll tell you about the art school that has opened up in Orange County. It's 10 o'clock. It's time for the Fox Virginia News.
Live from Charlottesville, this is Fox Virginia News with Dan Schutte, Carly Haynes, and Chief Meteorologist Travis Koshko. Now, Fox Virginia News at 10.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Dan Schutte.
And I'm Carly Haynes. We'll get to those stories in a moment, but first, here's Travis with the Fastcast.
And now, your CBS 19 Weather Authority forecast from the Bright Star Care Charlottesville Weather Center.
And good evening, friends. A wide range of temperatures today, though most of us ended up in the 50s and 60s this afternoon. Had a few clouds come and go, and that's really just what we have now, a few clouds coming and going, and most of those are south of Charlottesville at this time. If you're in Orange, Louisa, even Greene, Madison, Culpeper counties, your skies are clear. You're also a little cooler than everybody else. 46 in Madison and Culpeper, 49 in Charlottesville, 56 in Lynchburg, and 53 in the Star City of Roanoke. There will be a couple of clouds coming and going overnight, and eventually low temperatures will settle around the 40-degree mark. Your Wednesday, featuring a cloud-sun mix through the entire day. 50 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning. We're up to 60 at noontime. And once again, we continue with unseasonably mild temperatures in the afternoon with a high in Charlottesville of 66 degrees. First days of March start tomorrow. And does it mean that we're going to keep the warm weather going, or do we finally have chances for snow? Find out in just a couple of minutes.
All right, Travis, thank you. Our top story at 10 tonight. One person is dead after police say they spotted a wanted man. A gunfight erupted with what witnesses say was plenty of shots fired. Alexia Williams reports.
I never expected to come outside and see this.
You got a guy with a gun in the woods down.
A swarm of officers in tactical gear trying to arrest a wanted suspect. It all started just after 10 this morning near the Red Roof Inn in Charlottesville. There, a detective spotted a man wanted by police.
I came out my backyard. It was like 20 police officers.
A witness who didn't want to be identified says that he was terrified with what was happening in his neighborhood.
In the moment, I was actually shook because I just thought if he seen me, he was just going, because the way that the police were talking, they were talking like he was just shooting at people for no reason.
44-year-old Billy Seitz of Albemarle County took off running into the woods by the Red Roof Inn near Hydraulic Road. He fired a gun after officers tried to engage with him, according to Chief Michael Cautious with the Charlottesville Police Department.
Out of abundance of caution, we went ahead and initiated a lockdown in the area.
Cautious says that's when they brought in Albemarle County's tactical team to respond. After negotiations broke down, Cautious says that Seitz went towards the motel parking lot where there were people nearby. He says Albemarle officers tried to use what he called, quote, less lethal options, but they were unsuccessful. Seitz then went towards Albemarle officers and pointed his gun at them, Cautious says. Tactical officers fired their weapons, hitting Seitz several times.
The suspect was transported to UVA Medical Center, where he later succumbed to his injuries. The suspect is identified as Billy Seitz. He's a 44-year-old white male Albemarle County resident.
The CPD says that this is an ongoing investigation and that the state police are now taking over. For Fox Virginia News, I'm Alexia Williams.
Incumbent Charlottesville Mayor Lloyd Snook announcing his re-election bid for City Council today. He says he brought civility and productivity back to council, and it set him up for another successful term. Fox Virginia's Felicity Taylor has more.
Council is capable of functioning as a unit, that it doesn't have to be a pitched battle every time.
Charlottesville Mayor Lloyd Snook says now that the City Council has shown they can work together, he wants another term to actually get stuff done. He announced his re-election bid on Tuesday.
By experience and life interests and by the way that I work, I can help move us forward in a purposeful way, not necessarily a loud and showy way.
Snook says 4 years ago he had two goals: get the council back on task and get leaders to acknowledge that Charlottesville is a city and not a small town. and he says it worked.
And it's taken us a while to get here, but finally I think in 2023 we will see the culmination of all of that.
With another 4 years, he says he'll finish the projects he started.
Hopefully by the end of 4 years we will have completed, for example, we will have completed the Buford reconstruction by that time. We will have implemented a fair amount of the climate action plan, finalized the rezoning, and finalized all of the affordable housing plans.
Snook says if he's elected, he doesn't expect to be mayor again. The elected city council members appoint a mayor at their first meeting, and he says he's ready to pass the baton. In Charlottesville, Felicity Taylor, Fox Virginia News.
Well, here's a story every college parent and student should see. 2 years ago, VCU freshman Adam Oakes died from alcohol poisoning in a hazing incident at the fraternity he was pledging.
Oakes' family and VCU hosting a day of remembrance to honor his life and educate students about the dangers of hazing. Cameron Thompson reports.
On the 2-year anniversary of his death, the parents of Adam Oakes unveil a plaque and bench in his honor Monday outside VCU's fraternity and sorority office. Just one part of a day full of emotions and tears as the VCU freshman was remembered for his contagious laugh and generous nature.
I only wish you all had the opportunity to meet, love, and get to know him while he was still here. He was a good kid with his whole future ahead.
The 19-year-old was an underground pledge with the Delta Chi fraternity and hazed during their Big Little Night, made to drink a large amount of alcohol. He would die of acute alcohol poisoning. His parents saying they feel lost since, waking each day to a world that no longer has their sunshine.
Every day is gray and overcast. We also lost our faith that day, not only in God, but in the goodness of people.
But since his passing, Oakes' family has also fought back against hazing culture, including pushing for tougher laws and creating the Love Like Adam Foundation, holding lectures on campuses around Virginia. Other anti-hazing advocates Monday also called on schools across the U.S. to change.
Adam was not the first pledge to be hazed the way that he was hazed. He was not an anomaly. It wasn't something that just happened to Adam.
For their part, university officials pledged to keep building off the changes they've already implemented.
Today is a day of remembrance, and it is the beginning. It is not an end of a safer, more positive future for students at VCU and everywhere.
I just really believe if you see something, say something, and don't be afraid to call 911. And that's exactly why we had in Adam's Law.
The family and university also released a new training video Monday telling Oakes' story and held screenings for VCU students. Meanwhile, the Oakes family says they will not stop until hazing does.
This didn't have to happen. And for us to go around speaking at engagements, it's really to save other people's children and grandchildren.
And regarding those next steps, the Oakes family wants to take on the issue at the General Assembly next year, hoping to pass laws requiring hazing training to start in middle school and increase the penalty for hazing from a misdemeanor to a felony.
President Joe Biden traveled to Virginia Beach today to make remarks about the ACA and health care costs. The trip comes amid questions on whether or not he will soon announce his run for re-election in 2024. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says that Biden used the event today to criticize Republicans for demanding concessions for raising the nation's borrowing limit, while also tying the GOP to policy proposals that Biden says will raise health care prices.
An Orange County couple recently opening an art school for people of all ages.
Fox Virginia's Brenna Kiefner learned more about the curriculum and the importance of learning artistic skills.
The Blue Ridge Studio of Fine Arts has opened in Orange County and is ready to help students start creating. Husband and wife team John and Lena Murray are classically trained artists who wanted to teach all generations of art, regardless of their amount of experience.
We give them some basic exercises to give them confidence and to learn about the visual world, how to interpret it, and how to make something look dimensional. We teach just the basics of seeing how to see.
They are offering children and adult level drawing and painting classes. The Murrays are teaching these classes in a classical approach, and students can learn in all mediums and paint in oils,
watercolors, pastels, and more. The inspiration behind teaching art to Orange County is to give their community tools and freedom to express themselves and find out what they want to do with the things they learn in class.
By having these tools, you can do anything you want. And you can also go into other areas, like you don't have to become a painter, but you can be a designer, you can be an architect, you can go into movies.
The couple also touched upon the fact that art is a therapy outlet to many people, and their classes are prepared to let people release any stresses they may have.
We see that they're already getting confidence. Also, they're forming friendships with other students.
We want to see people happy about doing it because we're happy about doing it.
To begin painting your own canvas, you can visit our website for more information. In Orange County, Brenna Hefner, Fox Virginia News.
Pretty cool stuff they've got there. Well, we've got plenty more to tell you about coming up tonight at 10. The Supreme Court weighing whether President Biden has the power to wipe out hundreds of billions in federal student loan debt.
Coming up, we'll tell you how the case could affect millions of borrowers. First, Travis has your forecast.
If you're a fan of sunshine, you might want to enjoy tomorrow because the remainder of the work week will be cloudy with some beneficial rain. We'll talk about how much will fall after this.
And now, your CBS 19 Weather Authority forecast from the Bright Star Care Charlottesville Weather Center.
And good evening, friends. Thank you so much for joining us. A time lapse of the day. A foggy start at Sincere Martha Jefferson Hospital on the JES Skyline Network cam. Wasn't until about 11 o'clock we mixed out the fog. Sunshine followed through the afternoon. Temperatures all over the place. If you were in Madison, Culpeper, Orange counties, you were in the 50s for much of the day. Charlottesville, your high about 63. And parts of Nelson, Buckingham County ended up in the 70s. We had that colder air from yesterday. Took a while to scour out. Admittingly, a little cooler than expected, but still temperatures overall very much on the mild side when compared to seasonal normals. There have been a few clouds passing south of Charlottesville in the last 3 hours, most of those through Nelson, Southern Albemarle, Fluvanna, and Buckingham counties, but not lasting long. Could be a few more clouds drifting in overnight. Quiet conditions expected otherwise. 47 degrees outside our railroad studio, shows at 49, 50 degrees atop Carter Mountain with winds right now that are calm area wide. You can still see evidence of where the warm air really made its presence known today based on the 50s in Roanoke, Lynchburg, Farmville, and Emporia, and much colder air, the darker blues as you work north into northern Virginia, West Virginia, panhandle of western Maryland, and Pennsylvania. High pressure going to change that a bit. It'll move out of the way. This stationary front, which isn't moving, will eventually move, and it'll come northward as a warm front tomorrow. That means we're going to have clouds mixing with sunshine throughout the day, and warmer air will follow. Now, for half of the region that was cooler today, the temperatures will be an improvement. For areas that were south of Charlottesville and saw 70s, it'll actually be a bit of a cool down. At any rate, we're still talking middle 60s for highs and what should be a very pleasant Wednesday. We're up to 60 at noontime in Charlottesville. You got 65 degrees at 4 p.m. Your skies all day long, a mix of sun and clouds. High temperatures, 66 in Charlottesville, Lovingston 65, 64 in Crozet, 66 for Ruckersville, Lake of the Woods and Wilderness, Culpeper at 65, 68 for Bumpus, 67 for Kent Store, and 67 degrees in Bremo Bluff and New Canton. Futurecast showing the clouds that'll just kind of come and go through the day as that warm front lifts northward. Now, first two storm systems will pass the area late Wednesday and Thursday morning. Bit of rain with that. And then the really warm air will follow with most everybody Thursday afternoon in the lower to middle 70s. Then a second, more potent system will move through on Friday. I'm looking for this to bring us rain for most of the day and maybe even a touch of sleet in the elevations. Some places could see over an inch of rain from this system, but we get rid of all this Friday evening and the weekend ahead. It's looking pretty good. Cardinal Home Center extended forecast. 74 on Thursday, the second day of March. You know what? We've actually done 70s quite a bit this winter. 56 degrees on Friday, 64 on Saturday, 60 on Sunday. You get a couple of clouds mixing in next Tuesday and a few showers later in the day. The temperatures seem to level off early next week with highs in the lower to middle 60s.
And at least lower 60s is a little closer to where we should be because the 74 is not close at all.
Yes, we've been waiting all winter for the prolonged cold and it just hasn't happened. And coming up in about 20 minutes, the stat you've all been waiting for about this winter and measurable snow. More on that in just a bit.
All right, we'll be ready. Thanks, Travis. Well, the Supreme Court is considering arguments about President Biden's plan to wipe out hundreds of billions of dollars in student loan debt.
Shannon Bream is in Washington with more.
We deal with congressional statutes every day that are really confusing. This one is not.
But that is the heart of the debate. Whether or not the HEROES Act, passed in 2003 to ease student loan payment obligations on those deployed in the wake of 9/11, gives the Biden administration authority not only to pause student loan payments, as was initially done under the Trump administration, but to also wipe out roughly $400 billion in principal, all with the stroke of a pen.
I think most casual observers would say if you're going to give up that much amount of money, if you're going to affect the obligations of that many Americans on a subject that's of great controversy, they would think that's something for Congress to act on.
The Biden administration argues Congress did act, that the law in question provided the pathway for Education Secretary Miguel Cardona to step in the face of the COVID emergency. Justice Kagan seems to agree.
We worry about executive power when Congress hasn't authorized the use of executive power. Here, Congress has authorized the use of executive power in an emergency situation. We're in that sphere where the executive is acting with congressional authorization.
In Washington, Shannon Bream, Fox News.
A California city has been named the happiest for 3 years running. Personal finance website Wallet Hub has ranked all the U.S. cities, creating a list of the happiest ones using indicators like depression rate, income growth, work hours, and more. Holding strong to its first place position is Fremont, California, followed by San Jose, California, Madison, Wisconsin, and Overland Parks, Kansas. Rounding out the top 5 is San Francisco. Some of the cities found at the bottom of the list include Cleveland, Ohio, Shreveport, Louisiana, Huntington, West Virginia, and Detroit, Michigan.
They're all Bay. 3 of the top 5 are Bay Area?
I guess so.
That doesn't make a lot of sense. Oh, okay. Well, a clash of ACC title hopefuls over at JPJ tonight. We're live with highlights and post-game reaction after Virginia and Clemson squaring off tonight.
Plus, a midweek game over at the Dish as the Cavaliers look to continue their hot start against VMI. Highlights next in sports.
Hello, I'm Brian Strickland from Wilkinson Wealth Management, and here are your stocks of local interest for today.
You're watching CBS 19 Sports, winner of the Outstanding Sports Coverage Award from the Virginia Association of Broadcasters.
A primetime ACC showdown, Virginia hosting Clemson. Winner locks up a top 3 seed in the ACC tournament. Before the game, UVA honoring the late Terry Holland. Clemson would strike first. Brevin Galloway steps up, knocks down the 3. Tigers up by 5 to start the game, but UVA would get a spark from Ryan Dunn. Gets the block shot there, then on the other end, Reese Beekman throws it up. The alley layup finished by Dunn plus the foul. UVA within 3 later. Reese Beekman comes away with the steal and finishes with the dunk. UVA up by 4. Then it's Kihei Clark driving, kicking out to Beekman, this time from long distance. Dials up the 3, lead up to 5 for Virginia. Inside of Francisco Caffaro getting some playing time. Ryan Dunn hitting the 3 at the buzzer. UVA led by 5 at the half. In the second half, a quick pass from Beekman to Jayden Gardner. Finishing through the contact, getting 3 the hard way, flexing for the camera. Later, Clark finding Armand Franklin. Knocks down this triple. Franklin had 12 points. UVA extends the lead to 12. Then, time for another freshman, Isaac McNeely, relocating for 3 here, knocks down the triple, a 13-point UVA lead. Then it's McNeely, this time get a cut backdoor off the feed from Kihei Clark, finishes, plus the contact. McNeely also had 12 points. Clemson sticking around in this one, though. But shot clock winding down, and it's Jaden Gardner hitting the long two in the corner. He had 12 points, and Virginia bounces back in a big way, 64-57 the final. With the win, Virginia locks up a top 3 seed in next week's ACC tournament, which means they get that double bye all the way to Thursday. Now, coming off the loss to North Carolina, Tony Bennett was actually really encouraged with his team's effort in the second half, especially on the defensive end of the court, and just wanted them to channel that into tonight. And this late in the season, Bennett also added, you're not going to scrap everything and start from scratch. So you make little tweaks to the rotation, change a little things here, make a little couple changes to the offense. And, you know, at the end of the day, it wasn't perfect from in Bennett's words, as you see Ben Vanderplas behind me practicing his free throws right now, but is exactly what the Cavaliers needed.
You know, you're not going to reinvent yourself. You maybe add some different lineups, put little tweaks here and there. We did a couple different things offensively, but nothing too new, and trying to be as good as we can. And that was, I was proud of how hard the guys played. As I said, it was a joy to watch them compete, just like it was for me against Carolina with a different result.
We just knew we had to carry that into this game, especially, you know, we needed to win this game coming off 2 losses. So we just carried that into this game, and I thought we played really well defensively. You know, they got some really good guys. So I thought we, you know, the pack line defense is meant to be together, and I thought we played together on the defensive end tonight.
For the veteran guys, they're always on us. They always help us. Kihei always helps me if I need something. I always ask questions, so they always try to be encouraging, but also give a certain type of intensity and level going to practice.
Virginia got a big boost from that JPJ crowd tonight. Bennett said, well, you know, it wasn't perfect, their play on the night. He said that he could tell the crowd just kind of got behind them with the hard effort that they were showing. And Virginia will be back here to close out the regular season against Louisville on Saturday. And yes, it is senior day, and this time it will be Kihei Clark's final senior day with the Cavaliers. Little midweek baseball at the Dish. Virginia trying to make it 6 straight against VMI. Lefty starter Connolly Early was dialed in, gets the strikeout to end the inning. Early finished with 8 Ks on the day and no runs allowed. Still scoreless though later in the third. Bases loaded for Kyle Teal, and the junior catcher will deliver. Hits a bloop single to center field, drops in right there, and that's going to bring 2 runs in around to score. And 2-0 UVA. Teal putting the Cavaliers on the board. The Keydets threatening in the 7th, but it's Jake Berry, the 6'10 pitcher, gets the punch out to end the inning. 5 Virginia pitchers combined for a shutout. Bottom of the 7th now, Kyle Teal delivers the insurance run as well with a double to left center field off the wall. That brings Jake Geloff around to score. Teal with all 3 RBI on the day, and Virginia stays unbeaten with a 3-0 win. Well, in UVA women's basketball news, forward Cameron Taylor was named 2nd team All-ACC. She is the first UVA player to earn All-ACC honors since Jocelyn Willoughby in 2020. The Cavaliers open up play at the ACC tournament in Greensboro tomorrow against Wake Forest. That's your look at sports. Coming back with more after the break.
Across the world now, a temple in India is protecting pachyderms by using a high-tech robot for religious rituals. This life-sized robotic elephant is being used for ancient ceremonies in the Indian state of Kerala. Hindu temples in India have a history of using elephants to carry out traditional services, but environmentalists say many of them are chained, beaten, and illegally held in captivity. The animal rights group PETA donated the robot to the temple in hopes of saving elephants from abuse. The temple has pledged to stop using elephants and other animals for religious rituals, hoping to set a precedent to keep them safe from harm. Well, testimony in both House and Senate hearings today showing lawmakers are split on U.S. assistance to Ukraine.
While some continue to question whether helping Kyiv is in America's best interests, others pressing the Biden administration to do more to stop out the dragging conflict. Mark Meredith has more.
More than a year after Russia invaded Ukraine, and Kyiv stands firm. Experts say the more than $100 billion of U.S. assistance has been essential in Ukraine's fight, covering everything from military equipment to humanitarian assistance. But now both House Democrats and Republicans are demanding accountability.
How do we feel right now in time about providing all the assistance we've provided to Ukraine?
There's no evidence that the Ukrainians are diverting it to the black market or some other thing else.
In the Senate's Armed Services Committee, lawmakers gathering information about Ukraine's most recent request for U.S. fighter jets.
Is there any point in our
training beginning to train the Ukrainian pilots on F-16s at this point.
I would be training them on everything we've got. Get ahead of the game instead of behind the game.
Concerns about Ukraine now tangled up in Congress over China.
I would say that if they did intervene right now, it would fill a critical gap for the Russians for the next several months.
But with billions already spent and the war ongoing, one key Democrat says voters have concerns.
Why are we spending money? But a lot of constituents ask the question, what's all this got to do with me?
If countries like Russia are allowed to go on the march to swallow up their neighbors, the rule of law will be replaced with the rule of the jungle.
A bipartisan delegation recently visited both Poland and Romania to see firsthand how the U.S. military is tracking the weapons it's providing to Ukraine. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
A local biotech company could have come up with a game changer for kidney treatment.
This is really crucial for pharmaceutical drug development.
We'll tell you about a new test for kidney disease and how it works. That's after weather with Travis.
We'll continue with the mild temperatures into the first days of March. Rain chances increase later on this week. What about snow? Don't get your hopes up. I'll tell you why after this.
And now, your CBS 19 Weather Authority forecast from the Bright Star Care Charlottesville Weather Center.
Good to see you again, my friends, with skies that are mostly clear for now. Rain, snow, and ice free. And none of the sort in the 7-day forecast. Temperatures right now in the 40s, very close to 50 in Charlottesville, but Stanton at Shenandoah Valley Regional Airport, 41 degrees, 47 in Louisa, mid-40s in Orange and Culpeper. No rain today at the airport in Charlottesville, 2 inches, a little bit more than that as we close out the month of February. Deficit for the year, about 1.5 inches below normal, but the water table is in decent shape. Wednesday's Out the Door Planner brought to you by Solutions Mechanical and Plumbing. A partly cloudy sky, 60 degrees at 12 noon in Charlottesville, 65 degrees at 4 p.m. And if you're traveling for the midweek, 66 in Richmond and Roanoke, D.C., a temperature of 60 in Norfolk, sun cloud mix, and 67 degrees. So high pressure gives way to the stationary front. Stationary front, it's a boundary between air masses that aren't moving. So you've got cold air here, warm air here. They're just staring at each other, maybe chatting, sharing cookie recipes. I don't know. But the warm air is going to start moving tomorrow. Clouds forming as a result, mixing with sunshine. And then the real core of this will move through into Thursday, in which we'll have temperatures in the middle 70s. And then as we go into Friday, this system in Northern California, this will zip across the country and bring us some rain. So you look at precipitation chances. Late Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday, and then maybe next Tuesday afternoon. Everything's going to be rain. So now that we're maybe less than 2 hours from midnight, I can say this. First meteorological winter on record, December, January, February, at McCormick Observatory, keeping in mind records have been taken since the 1880s, in which no measurable snow has been recorded. First winter in 140 some years. It's been mild. Rainfall-wise, though, the next couple of days, we've got the potential for anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch of rain or more. So beneficial, just not going to fall snow. Last thing to show you, normal high this time of year, 55. We're close to that on Friday, but again, the first days of March continuing with the very mild trend. 74 on Thursday, and then lower to middle 60s through the weekend and early next week, Carly.
Travis, thank you. Health check now. Losing weight is hard. So hard that new findings show that most people end up gaining weight instead of losing it as intended. Researchers surveyed 2,000 adults who have tried to lose weight in the last 5 years. They found that close to 50% of the respondents ended up gaining more than 20 pounds. Analysts say that health issues, social media, and even the work environment are some of the reasons participants find it harder to lose weight. The survey also found that 73% of Americans find it hard to maintain a weight loss regimen consistently. Well, some encouraging news for kidney disease patients. A local company discovering a new way to identify and treat kidney disease. Ample Biosolutions is a precision medicine company that studies RNA and gene expressions to understand diseases and how to better treat them. Today, they released a test called Nephrogene that examines people with kidney disease. Ample President Omri Grammer says the test is a game changer because right now, doctors only study kidney tissue, not the person's genes. This test will actually predict kidney damage before it's too late and help identify the right drugs to treat it.
This is really crucial for pharmaceutical drug development and should improve the chances of some of those 45 drugs in development actually getting approved by the FDA and coming to market, assisting lupus nephritis patients, potentially stopping the progression to dialysis and transplantation.
Well, a 14-year-old dog who nearly froze to death in Maine reunited with her owner after a deputy's rescue. The sheriff's office in Sagadahoc County received a call about a dog lying in the road in the town of Arrowsick on Saturday morning. An officer went to the area, found the dog with what appeared to be almost frozen to death in a ditch. That according to the sheriff's office Facebook post.
The officer pulled the dog out, brought it to the dispatch center to feed it and warm it up, then posted flyers hoping to find the dog's owner. It wasn't long before he found her. The owner said she left the dog out at around 9 p.m. the night before, then waited all night for the dog to come in. I'm so glad that dog's
gotten lost, but now they're back where they belong.
Yeah, so great.
Travis, what do you got for us?
Rain late Wednesday into Thursday, another dose of rain on Friday. Very comfortable weekend, and temperatures in the lower 60s next week. Maybe some more showers next Tuesday afternoon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, sir.
A lot going on, and thanks so much for watching the Fox Virginia News at 10. We'll see you back here tomorrow.